Hi, I'm Nikki, a Whole Foods chef and educator. Pour yourself a cup of coffee or tea because today we are going to discuss the pros and cons of caffeine consumption. You may enjoy a morning cup of joe or depend on an afternoon energy drink. The statistics don't lie. Roughly 80% of US adults consume caffeine daily, which is why it's important to educate ourselves about caffeine's role in our health. What is caffeine and where is it found? Caffeine is a naturally derived substance from plants such as cacao, which is used to make chocolate, coffee, tea, and guarana, a caffeine-containing seed commonly used in energy drinks. Caffeine is quickly absorbed from the stomach within 15 to 45 minutes of consumption, but it hits its peak stimulatory effects between 30 and 75 minutes after consumption. Caffeine is a stimulant that passes from the blood into the brain where it affects our central nervous system. How does coffee and caffeine affect our health? Caffeine, a health food? Since caffeine acts as a mild stimulant to the central nervous system, studies have shown that depending on the level of intake, caffeine can help improve mental performance, especially regarding alertness, attention, and concentration. Coffee is a rich source of nutrients and antioxidants. It contains riboflavin, pantothenic acid, manganese, potassium, magnesium, and niacin. On average, American adults drink around 1.5 cups of coffee a day. Over the years, there has been much debate about the health effects of coffee. For a while, researchers believed that coffee contributed to chronic disease. As they continued their research, they found that oftentimes the heaviest coffee drinkers were also heavy smokers, heavy drinkers, and physically inactive. New studies were carried out with those variables removed, and many of the harmful associations to coffee disappeared. This is good news for those of us who love our caffeine drinks, but we should still remain mindful of our coffee use, as excess caffeine intake can have other negative effects, like disrupting sleep or worsening anxiety. How does caffeine impact our physical and athletic performance? Many people enjoy coffee as a pre-workout beverage. This is because caffeine can boost the metabolic rate anywhere from 3 to 11%, which means that a wonderful burst of energy from caffeine can be used towards a good purpose. Caffeine can also improve physical performance by 11 to 12%. Drinking a cup about 1 hour before physical effort is optimal. There are also neurological benefits to coffee. Coffee has been shown to lower the risk of Alzheimer's disease and dementia. Alzheimer's disease is the leading cause of dementia and has no known cure. Interestingly, coffee drinkers have up to 65% lower risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. Let's talk about dosage limits. On average, an 8-ounce cup of coffee has about 100 milligrams of caffeine. Tea contains between 50 and 90 milligrams of caffeine depending on the type and preparation. And energy drinks can vary in caffeine content from as little as 80 milligrams up to 500 milligrams. Keeping in mind that the caffeine content of any product can vary widely, the Mayo Clinic recommends that healthy adults limit their caffeine intake to 400 milligrams per day. This recommendation is made broadly and generally. Anyone who is highly sensitive to caffeine, pregnant, nursing, or prone to stress-related disorders should take care to be consuming less than 200 milligrams or eliminate it altogether. We each have a unique tolerance for caffeine, so it's important to be aware about how the timing and amount of caffeine consumption affects your energy, mood, and sleep throughout the week. Caffeine-containing products can be habit-forming and damaging in some cases. From a mild headache to severe panic attacks, there are a variety of reasons to carefully consider your caffeine intake. One reason is sleep disruption. While coffee can provide the pick-me-up needed some days, caffeine should not be used as a substitute for nighttime sleep or as a meal replacement. Focus on getting enough sleep so you do not become dependent on caffeine for alertness. Caffeine is a psychoactive drug that will not fully be cleared from our body for many hours after consumption. Consequently, it can easily disrupt sleep if consumed too late in the day. Sleep deprivation alone can wreak havoc on your health. Keep this in mind if you are drinking coffee in the afternoon or late at night. If you find yourself having difficulty falling asleep, take a look at when you drink coffee during the day and try cutting yourself off earlier. Ideally, you should stop before 12 p.m. There are some serious medical complications from drinking too much caffeine. Caffeine can increase the risk of high blood pressure, heart attack, stroke, and seizure, especially when combined with certain medications. Always talk to your doctor about how caffeine use can affect any pre-existing conditions or known interactions with prescription or over-the-counter medications. Switch to a non-caffeinated product or decaf if needed. A third reason to pay attention to your caffeine intake is that it can affect your anxiety and stress levels. Caffeine raises our cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone produced by the adrenal glands in times of wakefulness, stress, and effort. In situations where the body is already under extreme stress, an increase in cortisol from caffeine can promote short-term problems like sleep interference or feelings of anxiety. Chronic increases of elevated cortisol release have been linked to inflammation, which is a factor in almost all serious health issues, from mental illness to metabolic disease. Knowing all this, here are some recommendations for optimal consumption. If appropriate, incorporate coffee responsibly into your daily beverage intake, no more than 3 cups, so you can take full advantage of the benefits. Swap out the energy drinks. Try replacing any energy beverage consumption with black coffee or unsweetened tea. Brewing these drinks at home is easy and inexpensive. Besides being an effective and healthy alternative to store-bought energy drinks, you will also be saving money. We should also be aware of the fancy caffeine drinks like blended mochas, flavored lattes, and sweetened teas. Sugar-sweetened beverages are those that contain caloric sweeteners and can include soft drinks, soda, fruit drinks and punches, sports drinks, coffee, tea, and energy drinks. Did you know that the consumption of sugar-sweetened beverages has been associated with weight gain, obesity, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, accumulation of visceral fat, insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, leptin resistance, heart disease, cancer, poor dental health, gout, and dementia? To avoid all the extras, try ordering your coffee or tea black or with a splash of heavy cream. Avoid adding sugar and sweet flavored syrups.